Hello, this is Jimmy Mitchell, and we are back with another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast, going over all the posts on Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. Let's get right into it. First, we have "What do you think about Noam Chomsky" by Zepperf, and that's a cross post from the Libertarian subreddit. And I didn't say anything, but I do think he's good on free speech. But like this one comment says, 2,000 times the charm. They said good on free speech, bad on everything else. I would agree there. They're pretty good. He's pretty good on supporting free speech for everyone, but he justifies a lot of horrible stuff when it's the people on the left that did in Eastern. He always says like Eastern Europe under Soviet rule was a paradise, stuff like that. Then we have, should we impeach the fascist judges who are threatening to limit executive authority? And that's by Comrade Prodhan. And they said, in light of the recently launched assault on our president's right to regulate as he pleases, is now the time to impeach and prosecute the fascists on the Supreme Court. And I said, view poll. I see the poll. I said, I voted yes, and 3 votes for yes, 2 votes for no. And I commented, I commented actual fascists yes, Reddit fascists no. Reddit fascists are anyone who disagrees with the narrative at all. So that's what Reddit fascists I would say. If you disagree with the narrative at all, you're pretty fascist by Reddit standards. I would say. RSV video investigation into the death of Reuters reporter Issam Abdallah in Lebanon. The journalist's vehicle was explicitly targeted from rsf.org by Frosty Slawman. And I definitely would agree that isn't new. People are targeting journalists. You shouldn't be targeting journalists, especially not ones who are out in the field. I don't really care for a lot of modern journalists. Most modern journalism is just circle jerking on Twitter or Reddit. But it's these guys who go out in the field. They're the real journalists, and that's why I don't think you should be targeting them. Then we have gaslight warning population from Nathan RH, and they have a lot of words about how we need to cap the population because of that's what contributes to global warming, overpopulation. And I said, the top constants by haploid dogs. No, it isn't. It's caused by CO2 and methane, not human overpopulation. You fix it by reducing the amount of CO2 and methane release. You can do it by switching nuclear power. You don't need this Malthusian nonsense. I replied, guess they got too caught up in the Georgia Guidestone suggestion to cap the human population at 500 million. That's of course they're no longer with us, the Georgia Guidestones, but their logic of we need to reduce overpopulation, has always been stuck as kind of like a talking point of how we need to kind of like justifying ecological fascism, I would say. Then we have there's always an attempt by partisans to claim that the two parties are so irreconcilably different. Only a few issues they are, but on so many of the most consequential, they're identical. On Ukraine, Israel, Biden and Hillary agree 100% with Lindsey Graham and Nikki Haley from Glenn Greenwald on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, even on the fringes of the parties, it seems to mostly hold up. When it comes all of them kind of support Israel, except for like someone on the far left, like Ilhan Omar, and maybe like Thomas Massey on the right as well. But it's most of them are going to give infinite money for Israel, and on Ukraine, there's some on the far right like Matt Gaetz who are resistant, but even then, most of them are just going to be completely fine. Our forces are dragging a Nazi terrorist who was killed in Gaza, and that's a tweet from Rania Kalek, who tweeted, since he deleted his tweet, I want to make sure everyone knows that Israeli journalist at Stas Kopolo, that was who tweeted what the thing was, or I said earlier, to kill the Nazi terrorist, celebrated criminal behavior by his country's army, and they had the audacity to refer to the victim's cruelty as a Nazi. And that post was by Frosty Slawman, and yeah, I said, the official slogan of social media should be, what the hell is wrong with people? Because, people, they always seem to justify all the worst stuff imaginable on social media, especially when it's their side doing it, I would say, and I think social media has shown that the human condition is inherently tribalistic and justifiable, the worst stuff imaginable if it suits to the narrative, I would say. Then we have what you're about to watch is the final round of the most prestigious national high school debate tournament from James Fishback on Twitter, and I posted that, and I'll read the rest of the tweet. Team A proceeds to tell Team B that they will not be debating the assigned topic, benefits costs of the IMF, because trans people are being genocided by MAGA Republicans, and that is way more important than debating the IMF. Team A starts off by playing an audio clip from 1980's AIDS protest and states that 28 states want to kill trans people like her. They tell the judges that this round does not think like the IMF itself, and as such, they have decided that this round is going to be a debate about debate, and the judge's choice instead of is whether to affirm our performance. They probably declare that they will occupy in debate space until trans debaters can participate safely. Team B then immediately concedes the round because they don't want to dispute their trans genocide is real and be labeled transphobic. The rest of the round is a struggle session where Team A states that misgendering is violent and that if you do it, you should automatically lose. This is the final round of the most prestigious high school debate tournament of the school year, and they made a mockery of it with their selfish, unintelligible performative rant. The worst part, the judges praised Team A for their bravery and courage and crowned them the national champions. This is sick. It's anti-merit, anti-debate, and anti-American. No wonder droves of kids are quitting high school debate. The National Speech and Debate Association cannot be reformed. It's time for viable high school debate alternatives to stand up and welcome young Americans who actually want to debate. I believe my nonprofit at Incubate Debate will be one of those alternatives. And I replied with, my reply was, feels like a lot of culture today. Say the magic words, in this case trans genocide, and declare victory without doing anything else. If anyone questions you, then you can always label them transphobic, racist, etc., etc. Then we have, wait, this guy literally looks like he gives a round off kick to his throat. That does not look accidental at all. From Hannah Cox on Twitter, and that was her quote tweeting and Wokeness's tweet about Adam Johnson's death from a hockey league. You know, he died, and then the player who ran over him was Matt Petgraves, I think his name was. And I said, I can go either way, but I don't like how everything has to be marketed as an id-pull issue these days, like Wokeness is trying to, you know. I just want, you have the MSN pushing white killers, black victims, and wokeness pushing black killers, white victims. In reality, most violence is interracial. You are much more likely to be killed by someone of your own race than someone of another race. So you know that's kind of important to remember. And you know, everything really is just going to be looked at through id-pull narrative. It seems these days. Then we have, I don't want to hear anything from the accountability culture freaks. This is the bed you made, but I'll still fight against it for you as everyone else so you don't have to lane it. And that's from Shoe on Head on Twitter. And I posted that, and I said, looks like she may have deleted the tweet, but yeah, that was her response to people being canceled over the Palestinian supporting Palestine. I said, cancel culture wasn't a problem until it came for them. I don't care for cancel culture and I'm trying to be consistent with that belief. I just wish people would be a little more accepting of free speech and free expression rather than go after any dissent at all. You know, and that's something that increasingly everyone wants to use cancel culture to go after everything they deem wrong. You know, you can see it on the right, you can see it on the left, and increasingly soon, you're not able to dissent at all without people coming after you for it, and that's not something that I really care for. Then we have, if I sleep for one hour, 3 people die. Adolfo the Eraser Kaminsky, 1925-2023, and that's from Amazing Barracuda for 9496, and that's crosspost from the History Memes subreddit. And yeah, it looks good. It's a SpongeBob meme, and apparently the guy helped fight Nazis, so I guess that's good. You know, it's always good to stand up against authoritarians like the Nazis. Then we have, for those who claim that supporting Palestine is somehow contradicts LGBTQ plus rights, remember the strongest supporters of the state of Israel, anti-LGBTQ plus bigots. From that's a tweet from JB Font on Twitter, and it's from a post by International Silver One, and I guess that's a good point. People justify you want to support Palestine. That's fine, but but just be aware that a lot of Palestinians aren't down for the LGBTQ stuff that you are. That you might that you that's something that I would think about. Then we'd have I'd rather die in the West Bank. LGBTQ Palestinians find no safety in Israel from 972mag.com by Frosty Slowman. And yeah, I would agree that people are justify people will justify all the worst will justify stuff if it doesn't suit their narratives, and that's kind of the queers for Palestine thing. I personally, if I was a gay person, I'd probably live in Israel than Palestine, because same-sex marriage is legal in Israel but not in Palestine. But if that being said, if I'm a Palestinian and actively very passionate about that, I probably would rather live in Palestine if I was LGBTQ. So people will justify if they justify, I guess. Then we have new documents show Slane, Philadelphia journalist, had an intimate relationship with murder suspect from 6abc.com, and that's I posted that and I said he sounded like a lot of people use the subreddit. In 2018, he tweeted, the centuries-old smear that gay men are pedophiles is getting new life thanks to coordination between far-right news sites and far-right message boards. This egregious defamation is part of a strategy to target LGBTQ people with violence. And it reminds me of Alan Boone, you said last year, we just want to, he tweeted last year, you're fucking acting like we want to show kids porn or something, but something I've learned the years that whatever right-wingers accuse some others of something, it's definitely because they're protecting. I was April 6, 2022, and 2 months later it was substitute teacher Alan Boone was charged Wednesday with criminal complaint for federal court for distributing child pornography. So I said, I think the LGBTQ community might have a pedophile problem. The suburb, what about the Catholic Church? For me, yes, they have one too, but people need to try and hold their own communities accountable rather than just deflect like they seemingly always do. You gotta call out bad faith actors in your community, and I think that's something that's important, especially when you have this collectivist mentality, kind of like the LGBT community kind of markets itself as. You should be able to call out bad faith actors in it, and yeah, that's my thoughts there. Then we have Ramaswamy eager to placate dictator for all territory that they've killed for and more, and that's a post by Clorox, and that's a post linking from the Ukrainian conflict subreddit that links to a tweet from Ramaswamy. I think he's in an interview with Piers Morgan or something. Yeah, it's yeah, he says Vladimir Putin trying to give Putin a deal, and I said, my thing is, I don't think it's the U.S.'s place to do anything. I said, it's Ukraine's decision, not that of the U.S. We need to let the Russians and Ukrainians handle it amongst themselves, just like the Israelis and the Palestinians. That's my thoughts there. It's not America. Everything shouldn't be America's decision. It needs to be the people. It needs to be the people their decision, not that of the U.S., which is far away. Then we have a recipe for big government food insecurity from John Stossel on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, government always tries to push some price in order just by giving itself more power. Then we have Halloween Capitol Hill from Reason TV, and I posted that, and I said, politicians promise you treats, but don't give you only tricks after taking office. Happy Halloween. It's just they were just lampooning all the stuff going on in Washington right now, with all the government being crazy. Government's always kind of crazy. Then we have, do you think any of these people had this belief 10 years ago? Democracy doesn't mean rule by the people, it means rule by the institutions that inform the people. That was from Aaron McIntyre on Twitter, and I posted that. I was just quote tweeting a tweet from M Wokeness. Do you think 12-year-olds should be able to get a tattoo? Hell no. And then, do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to puberty blockers? Yes, of course. And that was the guy interviewing some people on the street about that. And I said, Control the narrative, control the people, as I always like to say. Then we have TIL in 2018. Multiple Virginia towns banned trick-or-treating for anyone under the age of 12. For example, according to the Chesapeake, Virginia City Code in 2018, violators could face a fine up to 6 months in jail, and that's cross-referenced from the Today I Learned subreddit. And I posted that, and I said, let's go show that the state can make whatever it wants to illegal. Then we have Israelis authorities are not permitted to marry couples when both partners do not have the same religion. And that's a link to the marriage in Israel page in Wikipedia from Frosty Slawman. And I said probably why we need to get rid of marriage as something legal. I think it should just be up to each individual who have their own definition of marriage and use it as long as they don't force it onto anyone else. Then we have Buckley's Leftist Turn, Not Scary Farm 2 from Joseph Buckley, and that was him talking about how there was a show at Knott's Berry Farm that conservatives like Libs and Tickstock got all their panties up in a bunch about, and I said, people always find something complaining about. I said the official slogan of social media should be people can constantly look for something to bitch and moan about, either that or what the hell is wrong with people, as I talked about earlier. These people are always going to look for something to complain about. It's like we said. I said earlier, cancel culture is increasingly going to be marketed as, oh, we need to hold people. It's like on the left's like we're going to it's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture or accountability culture. On the right, it's like, oh, it's just backlash. But in reality, they're all cancel culture, and they are just trying to go after things that go against their narratives. Then we have Elon Musk and my Twitter turning to X from Powerful Jerry on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, definitely interesting perspective from Elon here. I do think his takeover Twitter was overhyped, but I do think it was a slight step up from the old regime. The bar was so low that really isn't saying anything. Then we have, as Michael Mouse likes to say, a smart dog is easier to train. Education at most higher education institutions today is thinly veiled indoctrination in fancy font. Easier and easier to see how Nazi Germany came into power with such a highly educated population. That's from Science, Not Scientism, on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, the worst thing about educated people is that they think it's their right to rule over others. In reality, most education outside of STEM medical, I would say, is just a leftist circle jerk that you can get for free on most social media platforms like Twitter or Reddit. And I think we're gonna wrap it up there, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.